Why is it that you don't actually have an awful lot of Tom Hunters in Scotland? You know, people that sort of invest £10,000, make it 50, sell it, make it 500, sell it, make it 5 million, and you tend to get people who sort of make it 100, sell it, start again, make it 100, sell it, start again. And we were looking at that process, and why is that?
So this is a 3-year European funded programme by Interreg, and really the aim of it is to improve the effectiveness of regional policy.
For the partners involved in the project, in the end it will give them regional plans on how to support entrepreneurship and business transfer.
Having Glasgow City Council as a key strategic partner has been fantastic throughout the project. And to build on the exchange and experiences among partners, so looking at best practice, elements of best practice which exist in the Netherlands, in Barcelona in Spain, where we're working with the Chamber of Commerce of Barcelona, in Athens with the Athens Chamber of Small and Medium Industries, with our colleagues in Germany through links with the Chamber of Commerce in Kaiserslautern, as well as our Romanian colleagues in Brasov.
SMEs constitute 89% of employment in Europe. People think that big companies are the ones that hire people. It is not true. It's the little guys, the micro enterprises that hire 2 to 5 persons, in some other cases 9 up to 50. So if those who are competitive survive, that means that the positions of employment will be maintained.
Some of the research that we've been doing, it shows that governments generally fail to recognise the importance of providing support for business transfers. Often little time is spent in terms of understanding the challenge of selling a business, and a lot of the resources, particularly financial resources, are put into start-up companies and moving away from that. And that's really surprising. I mean, this statistic was read out today by the leader of the council, and it's surprising given that the survival rate of new businesses after 5 years is only between 35 and 50%, depending on the industry sector and the economic climate, obviously. But comparing that with a success rate of a successful takeover of a business between 90 and 96% is staggering, and you can begin to see the economic values of supporting existing businesses and making sure that they remain sustainable.
And there seems to be, when times are tough, to say, let's put lots of money into startups, and there needs to be money put into startups. But the thing that seems to get lost is this idea of, do you know, maybe we should help companies that are in transition, where there are already jobs at risk if it goes badly, to make that transition better than they otherwise would do. And that is a big part of what Graham's been looking at in this project.
I'm going to be talking about my experience in selling my previous business, Merlin Business Services, and some of the other experiences I've had involved in management buyouts, buy-ins. The key parts I was trying to get the message across was the process that I personally went through when being asked to sell my business, and the opportunities that it gave me, looking at what the reasons were, what the process was, and what the outcome was, and how it's actually affected my thinking now in the business that I'm now in.
And that can be quite a painful process, because sometimes you've got to admit that maybe you're not as good as you thought you were. So it can be challenging. But if you could get your head around that.
My name's Gail Heggie, and I'm an enabler at Entrepreneurial Spark. We go across the States regularly just to look at what they're doing and see how we can improve on our business. And when you go to the States, they say to you, how many teams have you got? They don't say how many entrepreneurs do you have or how many businesses, they say how many teams do you have. And it's a really interesting psychology that hasn't really translated to Scotland or the UK yet, is this sense of needing to have the knowledge span across the team.
It's interesting. One of the things that you tend to find happening is that lots and lots of businesses think that what happens in the business is what's going to what's going to cause them the biggest problems. Very often it's not. Very often it's what happens to the business. So it's legislation, a change in the market, and so forth. So you need to be able to look outwards.
You don't want people working in the business, you need them working on the business. That was my mantra every time I went in to see clients is, I can give you the data. Now, you're actually doing your business. But when we're sitting together, we're talking about what you're doing on the business.
So, reasonable size SME, the main business of finance intermediary between SMEs and banks, trading for 14 years and no exit strategy. And we find that many companies that go into business don't have an exit strategy, and that's something that we've been looking at quite powerfully throughout this entire project. How can we better facilitate younger entrepreneurs, younger buyers of SMEs with older ageing owners, business owners? And this is something that over the next 20 years, right across Europe, as a result of demographic changes, is going to be amplified. There's no question about that.
You get the knowledge transfer wrong, then boy, you've messed up your business. Anybody who owns a business wants to see that business going forward. It's something of pride for me to know that my brand that I started is still out there. It's not going to be a world brand. I would love it if it was, it'd be great to see it. But it is a name and it's still there. And the integrity we had is still in the business that is going forward. Any business looking at wanting to find an exit has to think about how is it sustainable going forward. If you get that model wrong, you can have the wrong people, sell it to the wrong people and they just don't have the right attitude and the business is in peril. You have to, as a seller, a vendor, you have to think about how that's going forward.
And I said, well, do you have a life policy? He said, yeah. I said, why do you have a life policy? He said, so that I can look after my family. I said, that's why I have an exit policy. Sooner or later, this business will sell or go through some kind of transition, and I want that to go well, and that's why we have an exit policy. And we have groomed our business for exit. I just don't know who it's going to be. I've got an idea. I don't know when it's going to be, but that then kicks in the second bit of the argument, which says if you were selling your house, you would clean it up. It would probably smell of bread and coffee. It'd be a wonderful place to live. Now, if you had a business that was permanently groomed for sale, it'd be a wonderful place to work in.
Now with this project, at least local authorities in 6 countries, member states, are being sensitized to do something about it. And we are very proud of it because in the end, we'll give European local authorities a model on how to run an entrepreneurship office with tools so that local entrepreneurs can seek support. And most of all, local entrepreneurs getting older to be able to assess whether their company can be transferred, and if it can, where and how they can find the buyer.